Hey y'all, how you doing? This is Blair Cinta, and this is my channel Sticks and Wires. Today I'm going to showcase my Keplinger steel 6.5 by 14 snare drum. This is probably the most badass rock snare drum I own. My favorite thing about it is that it gets really close to that Matt Cameron Soundgarden snare drum sound that he gets. It's pretty close to what he uses on a lot of those recordings. His has some different things, and I'm not going to play expert on getting his sound, but this drum does it really well. But it's also super versatile, handles a lot of tunings really well, wide open and really dry. But basically this thing is loud, it's beefy, it's got great high end and crack. And yeah, it's just a great drum. And not only that, I have the pleasure of knowing Greg Keplinger, the guy who makes this stuff up in Seattle, and he's a great dude. So let's take it through some tunings and playing and just see how it sounds. First, let's check this strainer. I believe it's a Dunnet strainer, and one of the great things about this strainer I like is that you can loosen the snares, which is something I do a lot with just by twisting this strainer. All right, and it can get super tight and super loose. So throughout this demo, I'll be playing with that a little bit. All right, first things first. This thing's tuned pretty high. I have a control sound head on it, and it's pretty cranked and it's wide open. So this is really that kind of, if I have a track that calls for this, I go for this kind of wide open, ringy thing, and this would be close to that Matt Cameron thing. He would play it off center, not hitting the center of the drum, but again, it's not a demo about that sound, but it sounds similar. So this is part of what I dig. Alright, so I'm going to go through, I'm going to lower the tuning, and I'm basically going to keep it wide open so we can hear how this drum does wide open through some different tunings. Alright, so here it is, still wide open. We'll start with the snares tight, but this would be probably a pretty good medium tuning. So it's honky. It's really big sounding. Check it out. Great setting for this drum. Let's take it lower. Let's keep it wide open. This thing's gonna get super honky and nasty. Pretty great. Okay, so this tuning is really low for this drum. Probably, you know, I would, if I was going to have a drum this low, I would normally dampen it. So this is pretty unusual spot for it. The head is really loose, and you're going to hear how nasty and honky it is. It definitely inspires a certain, you know, groove or thought, though. So let's just check out this drum at this tuning. Really interesting. All right, so let's deaden this thing up. We'll start from this tuning and we'll go back up. All right, so I'm just going to put a little ring on it, cut out of a head here with a little gaff to make sure it stays. Check that sound. The snares are kind of over tightened. It's funky. Okay, pretty cool. Sounds kind of gated to me in a certain way. It's got a length to it with the snares tight like that. Kind of interesting. All right, so let's go up. That could maybe be cool for a kind of modern, you know, electro type track. You're getting some of that kind of natural on-off gating sound. All right, now I have it at a medium tuning. I'm actually going to make this more dead, and I think that's going to accentuate this tuning some more. A little bit of a handkerchief on here, a little bit of gaff. Okay, that sounds sweet. Right here, sitting right here, it sounds like a sample. All right. Let's check this out. So you can see it's a really versatile drum. What if we loosen the snares at this tuning? I'm going to put this back on here and just see what it does. really great sound. You can see how versatile this drum is. It can kind of do anything. It's really big and thick. It's a heavy drum, but man, you can get a lot of uses out of this. You know, this drum would go a long way in a studio setting. I've taken it on the road before. I toured with Josh Groban, and this was my main snare. And it was basically, you know, pretty high, medium high on that gig, and it just had a lot of crack, but it's got a lot of body to it too. Okay, it's tuned fairly high at this point, but because of all the dampening, it still sounds low. Really beefy. It's almost woody. It almost has a woody sound to it. Let's hear a groove with it right here. Again, great. All right, I'm going to take it up really high now. Not going to change the dampening. Just going to give this, you know, one more crank. See what we can get. We'll be back to our kind of original wide open high tone on this one. There we go. Let's make these snares super tight. Check that out. It almost makes me think of like a kind of like an 8x10 or something, like a blocky snare. There we have it. Keplinger 6.5x14 steel snare. Super versatile drum. Excellent for rock. Excellent for some other electro stuff maybe. Or, man, just really fat sounds. Alright. Dig that. See you guys soon.